On the 14th of July, 2020, the Nigerian Air Force, and indeed the entire nation, was thrown into mourning as a result of the death of one of our shining young stars in the person of Flying Officer Tolulope Arotile, the NAF's first female combat helicopter pilot. 3 of her former schoolmates at the Air Force Secondary School, now Air Force Comprehensive Secondary School, Kaduna, namely Mr. Nehemiah Adejo, Mr. Ibikunle Daramola, and Mr. Festus Bayegun, drove past her in a Kia Sorento sports utility vehicle, SUV, with registration number AZ478MKA. Must be highlighted that all 3 of the individuals mentioned went to the Air Force Secondary School, now Air Force Comprehensive School, with the late Flying Officer Arotile, and all 3 hail from Kogi State. It is noteworthy that Messrs. Adejo, Folorunsho, and Bayegun are all civilians who live outside the Nigerian Air Force base, but were on their way to visit one Mrs. Chioma Ugu, the wife of Squadron Leader Chukwuemeka Ugu, who lives at Ekagbo quarters within the base. Upon recognizing their schoolmate, that is Flying Officer Arotile, after passing her, Mr. Adejo, who was driving, reversed his vehicle. So what happened was, she was returning from the Mami market on the same side of the road, facing onward traffic, and they passed her this way. And they realized that this is their former schoolmate. So in an attempt to reverse, to meet up with Arotile, who was walking in the opposite direction, as I mentioned, in the process, the vehicle struck the deceased from the rear, knocking her down with significant force and causing her to hit her head on the pavement. The vehicle then ran over parts of her body as it veered off the road, over the curb and onto the pavement, causing further injuries. Flying Officer Arotile was subsequently rushed to the 461 Nigerian Air Force Hospital, Kaduna, for treatment, while Mr. Folorunsho, one of the occupants of the vehicle, who also happened to be a trauma nurse, an accident and emergency nurse at St. Gerard's Catholic Hospital, Kaduna, administered first aid. Unfortunately, Flying Officer Arotile was confirmed dead by the on-call doctor at the 461 Nigerian Air Force Hospital at about 4:45 p.m. that same day, 14 July 2020, as a result of the head injuries. So she was pronounced dead upon arrival at the Nigerian Air Force Hospital. The trio of Messrs. Nehemiah Adejo, Ibikunle Daramola, and Festus Bayegun were immediately detained at the Air Provost Wing, 453 Base Services Group, Kaduna, as investigations began. They were subjected to toxicology tests at the 461 Nigerian Air Force Hospital. However, no traces of alcohol or psychotropic substances were found in their systems. It was, however, discovered that the driver of the vehicle, Mr. Nehemiah Adejo, did not have a valid driver's license. Must be noted too that traffic officers from the Kawo Police Station and the Kaduna State Police Command, as well as road traffic experts from the Federal Road Safety Corps, were also called in to provide support during the investigation. Having carefully considered the foregoing, the preliminary investigation concluded that, firstly, the death of Flying Officer Arotile was caused by blunt force trauma to the head and significant bleeding resulting from being struck by the vehicle. Being a civil case, that's the second point, the matter will subsequently be handed over to the Nigerian police with a view to conducting further investigations and charging the suspects to court in accordance with extant laws.